94.
I saw the orange bumper to that, and I thought it was on the page there.
Yeah, I know. I threw that on there just for the hell of it.
Is this a kid?
Yeah, Stinger.
Oh, yeah, I want a Stinger so bad.
You just got to get a wrecked one and rebuild it. That's what I did.
Not a bad idea. I want a Stinger, but I'm 20, so I'd be paying $1,600 a month to get there.
Yeah, I won't. Elongated the holes on some of these. That's what I'm talking about. Hey Fearless Mods fans, what is up? It is Biff and you're back for another episode with the 2019 Stinger GTS, where we are getting really close to having this baby back to street worthy. So what I need to do this time is finish adjusting the body panels, starting with the door, working my way forward, bumper and hood, and the other fender to get everything lined up perfectly so that when it's on this time, it's on and done. We'll do a couple other little odds and ends with some of the trim that still needs to be installed. We got our rear glass in, so we'll go ahead and take off some of the trim there and get the heaters connected to the rear window defrost, and maybe a little bit of cleanup in the interior, and install our little seat belt adjuster that we got for the right side. So it's a bunch of little things that have been piling up. We're going to try to get them taken care of right here. Hey, I want to say, if you are not subscribed to Fearless Mods, I'm not going to wait till the end of the video to tell you to do it. I'm going to tell you right now, reach down there, give it a like, give it a subscribe, so you can keep coming back and watching this baby get to its final stages. So with that, let's go ahead and get to it. We got a few things done to it. Had to go ahead and get it out for another quick test rip around the neighborhood so I could see if all those hisses and pop-offs and discharges were putting power to the wheels, and I gotta tell you, they are. It is freaking awesome, which gets me even more motivated to get this thing done. I did take all of my scrap metal. You can see on my last trip back to Ohio, I took it with me so I could dump it all off at the metal recyclers. So it's not too bad. Got a little over $17 for all of the steel, but I also got $23 out of the extra aluminum wheel and a couple of suspension arms that were aluminum as well. And so $40 to get rid of all that. That's pretty good. And it cleared out some spot in the garage here, so that now I can move on to a little bit of epoxy repair on the back of the side skirts. That is one of the last pieces of body work that I need to do. I do still have some alignment stuff that I got to do with the hood and the front fenders, headlights combo to try to get the gaps even. They're not lining up perfectly, but it is latching and looking pretty good. But I want to get these side skirts done so I can get them popped on. Whether or not I need to paint them or buff them, we'll know soon. But once I get those on, then we kind of look complete, and then we'll be ready to take it for its inspection and then see if we can go ahead and get the salvage title transferred over to a rebuild title so we can license it and put it on the road.
2 weeks later.
Guys, it's been a minute, but we've got the epoxy on here setting up. I did buy some more because I have some other of these tabs. They're a little bit broken along the edges on several of these, so I'm going to go ahead and add some epoxy to them as well as to the ones that we just did, and that way they will be as strong as possible. JB Weld clear epoxy I'm using does set up really well. I'm really happy with it, but I do like to give it at least a day or two to fully harden before I install anything, because I don't want it to just pull away and then not actually do the job. We need to clean up the car on the inside and then do some more final adjustments on the hood to get it where we want it exactly. and everything should be good to go. But before I do that, I'm going to take a minute here, and no, I don't condone smoking because it's bad for you. But whenever you have a milestone event, such as an engagement, then something such as this would be a really nice choice to go with. Were that the case, yes, that is the reason I've been gone for a little while. I'm going to go ahead and take a minute here to enjoy this smoke for my recent engagement, and then we'll get back to work. And I think that'll do the trick. It's no good, the clear side of my JB Weld is solid on this new tube, so I'm gonna have to go get another tube. All right, got another pack of JB Weld quick setting epoxy, so let's see if this one's good to go. Yet again, another bad tube of JB Weld, so I'm gonna have to go somewhere besides AutoZone and see if I can get another good batch of it like I did on the first go around, because I was really happy with it. So in the meantime, I'm thinking I wanna go ahead and try to see if I can start applying some heat to this edge here and try to get this to straighten and form itself back to where it should be. So I'm gonna tackle that right now and we'll see how it goes. All right, so this is coming along great. Really happy with how this plastic complies with the heat addition, and then once it cools back off, it stiffens back up and holds its new shape. So this is getting really close. I'm gonna get a couple more presses on it, going this way to flatten this out. There's still a little bit of a ridge right through here where it was bent up. So flatten that out a little bit more. Everything else is looking good. This part that was out here where it had a little bit of a crease and curved in is mostly corrected. And then finally, we'll get this piece here one last time, get it all lined up. Then we'll be ready to go ahead and go get another tube of the epoxy and continue strengthening up all of the other fastener points as well as these here to give them the strength to remain in place. It will have a couple little cosmetic areas on the outside, some that need to be buffed just to get the tire rubber off of them. Some of them that are a little bit bigger, a couple nicks, things like that. I'm not going to immediately go towards bodywork and painting these. That could be a future endeavor. Right now I just want to get them straightened out and get them on the car. Alright, AutoZone's stock of this JB Weld is obviously no good, so I'm going to go with this O'Reilly version and hopefully it's in better shape. Got some good epoxy, did all the tabs down through here so they're all getting epoxied. We're ready to go ahead and lay some into these areas here. 5-minute quick set, let's see how it works.
2 hours later. Much later. Eventually.
Lot of heating and straightening and epoxying, and here's where we are. I can do a little bit more straightening on that after I get this all epoxied, just to make this a little bit straighter, but honestly this stuff at this point is mostly just cosmetic. It's got its basic form back and that's all that matters. So nice and square there and straight, just like this one. So, and the bottom side there doesn't matter. So I'm just going to leave the tape on there so that this joint right here can dry up real good. I've got glue all along the bottom there so that can get set up. Then I just got to get some new clips. A lot of these I thought they were going to be good, but they're missing the bottoms of the tabs. So it's got the top tab but not the bottom one, and that's the case on most of the white ones. So I'm probably going to have to replace all those, so I can get those on order so that when this is all done it's ready to slap on. No, that isn't a Stretch Harley. Well, it kind of looks like it. That is right side skirt. That is left side skirt that was in the wreck. and they're looking nice and shapely, just like they should. The bending came out fine. There is some bodywork touch-up that I would like to do to this in the future, but right now, like I said, I just want to get it on here so I can get this thing inspected and on the road. This is where I said I epoxied all of these upper tabs because those all broke at the top as a result of pulling it off. Everything points to the rear. All the slots point to the rear, both upper and lower slots, except for the two up top at the rear and the three on up top at the front. So it seems to me like if you could get these disconnected and those two disconnected, that you should then be able to apply a little bit of force from the rear to slide this thing forward enough to make all of these pop out of their slots and then pull the side skirt off, as opposed to pulling it straight off and breaking every one of these tabs. Kind of a weird design. And then the last thing I'll have to do is splice back in my little underglow wires that I had to cut. So let's move on to cleaning this thing. As you can see, a lot of the wet sanding residue has found its way into the car through open windows and removed doors. So let's get this thing cleaned up. Now we'll move on to the exterior, where I'm going to use some wax and grease remover to try to remove all these paint pen marks from the body, and finally our illustrious mileage from the window, as well as the Copart sticker from the windshield. Here we are back at it again, trying to wrap up this part of the build and the episode that just keeps on giving. Let me show you these body gaps so I can show you what I'm trying to achieve here. This fender has always been fitting back very far. You can see how tight it is right here. It's causing me some rub issues right here, and I still got a little bit of tweaking to do to the door hinges to get it just right. I'm still slightly kicked out up at the top here, even though I'm mostly level right there. And this is a pretty tight gap for the door when you compare it to the other side. The other one's just slightly larger, and this is definitely tight. So what I need to do is move this fender forward. That means trying to move this headlight forward, which is currently as far back on this fender as humanly possible. You can see that it needs to come forward a little bit because of the gap still right here. But what that gap is going to do for me, if I can bring that fender forward, we're looking pretty good there, but we get really tight up in this corner. So I need to be able to bring this forward a little bit and create a little extra gap here. And then I need to do the opposite over here. This headlight's fitting beautifully into the fender and the bumper, but I need all of that to move back slightly so that I can close up this gap here a little bit. Got a little bit better gap here, which is what I would like to see on their other side, as well as the door gaps here and here. When we did the measurements, you could definitely tell that there were a couple that were slightly off. And now that this is all to the final assembly phase, I'm seeing those manifested right here. So it's time to see what we can do to try to overcome some of those tolerances and get this stuff tweaked exactly where it needs to be. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. So I've pulled off the left fender and the left headlight, and like I said, that one needs to move forward. These things are so well positioned in there and so well secured that there's not a whole lot of slop. Even in the three bolts that hold it on, there's not a lot of movement. And in addition to that, you have two clips that go in and actually secure to some receiving clips to really keep it tight. I might prefer to just elongate those holes by that amount so that it gives me the movement on the tip of the bracket, as opposed to modifying the socket connector that mates to the headlight assembly. Why does that side need to go in? I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure at all. Perhaps when I give myself more space on this side, it'll just allow me to pull the hood forward and that side will match up a little bit better, but I'm not gonna be able to move it the full 1/4 inch that it would pretty much take. A lot of things spinning around through my mind right here on how to maybe do this. I gotta believe the right side is good, and if that's the case, that means I just need to bring this left side forward a commensurate amount, probably about a 1/4 inch. So I'm gonna go check the measurements and see how that matches up to that visual 1/4 inch that it appears to me would even it up, and then see if we can just adjust that through the headlight and then the fender. Okay, so all I did was on this outer flange here, I stuck one washer back here that gave me a full 1/8 of an inch and of bringing this forward, which brings this with it. It's a little further out, so it'll be slightly more than an 1/8 of an inch. I did mark over here so I could see how far forward it came. So that went a little more than an 1/8 of an inch, and then I put a washer behind here to get me out to about a 1/4 inch total movement forward. This one here, I gave it a little bit extra washers to because it's to the left of this, so it didn't get as much advantage from this. So I gave it a little extra. So these should both be a 1/4 inch forward. And so what I want to do now is I went ahead and put all my brackets back on the light, and I want to just stick it in, pop it in place into these connections, and just see where that puts these brackets to see if I actually did get the movement that I was looking for. What I'll probably do is just round out these holes a little bit bigger to give me room to get the bolts in there, and then we will be good to go. Elongated the holes on these a little bit with a similar sized drill bit, and then this one just didn't have the room, so, and it was at an angle, so I just went ahead and slotted it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these back on here, and then we'll be ready to pop the headlight in and secure it in its forward position. I've got my full 1/4 inch forward on the light. It's looking good, it's secured in. This is fantastic. Now let's go ahead and get that fender on and bring it forward. Okay, now that we got the headlight where we want it, it's time to make some final tweaks to the door adjustment and then put the fender on, hopefully for the last time. Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of adjusting doors, especially doing it by myself. All told, I've probably spent 8 hours adjusting this door over the course of the last few episodes, and it looks fantastic. I've had to insert some washers behind some of the hinges to kick them out a little bit where it was pressed in. My pull didn't quite pull it out where it needed to be, but that has allowed me to get that back end aligned exactly where I want it. And hopefully the front end will be where it needs to be to line up with the fender. Right now that shuts nice. It doesn't shut nice, it shuts to a perfect body line, and that's what I'm going for right now. I'm using the striker plate just a little bit to lift me into the final position, but every time I loosen these up, I go backwards, and then it takes me an hour to get back to the point where I'm at right now. So I'm going to leave it where it is, knowing that it kicks the striker plate just a little bit to get into position. I'm going to live with that, knowing full well that if I ever want to fix that, I've got to remove the bumper, but the fender to get to the hinge bolts. So I like where it's at right now. Let's go ahead and put the fender on and call that f***ing door complete. So now that the door's aligned, the fender's on, everything's moved forward, this is just fitting together so much more nicely. I tell you, it looks fantastic. The way the fenders are wrapping around the headlights is just perfect. And so now it is time to see what we can do on this bumper. When we put it on, hopefully all I need to do is bring the hood forward. Let's see what we're looking at right here. Yeah, because these lines are all looking pretty good. So one final tweak over here on this right fender, and then I'll put the bumper on. Okay guys, I may not be the brightest guy working on cars. I just try to do what I can and put out YouTube videos for your enjoyment. But what I did was spend an entire day working to move this headlight essentially a 1/4 inch forward, thinking that the connection points for the bumper that attach above and below the headlight would then bring the bumper forward. But failing to realize that it's actually the fender that it connects to, both top and bottom, that didn't move. And so therefore, I mean, we moved it slightly, but not much. We just relieved some of the stress where it couldn't come forward because of the headlight. That allowed it to come forward just a smidge. And so we got a smidge of extra gap up here on this side. The left and the right look absolutely fantastic, but the difference up front between this gap and this gap is no bueno. So that's going to have to wait. I just need to button this up and get it put back together with the side skirts, the under tray, maybe give it a wash, and the fender liners, so that I can get this thing inspected and get it on the road. Then I can come back and revisit that stuff later. But with that, it's been far too long since I have put out a video for you due to travel and things in life, and so therefore we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up right here. Get this one out there to you so that we can then finish all that stuff up in the next one and take it through the inspection process and getting it licensed. That'll come, just not today. Otherwise, it's looking absolutely fantastic. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm sorry it was about a month since the last one, but they are kind of wrapping up, so it's going to go back to just regular maintenance stuff here in the near future. But for now, I just want to get this thing on the road so I can go ripping in it. Thanks for watching. Like I said at the beginning, please reach down there and like and subscribe, and we'll catch you again real soon. Take care.